Today, we are going to dive into a concept you hear about all the time in meditation and martial arts, the Dantian. Now, it's often talked about in these really mystical terms, but what we're going to do in this explainer is unpack its very real, very physical functions. So you have to wonder, right? Why are meditation masters always talking about the lower abdomen? Is it just some random spot to focus on, or is there something way more profound happening just beneath the surface? Well, the source material we're digging into today makes a really compelling case that the Dantian is actually the key to balancing our entire system, both physically and mentally.
Here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the hidden cost of the tension so many of us carry around every day. Then, we'll see the amazing benefits of unlocking your body's core. Third, we'll learn how this simple act can fire up your body's own internal pharmacy. And finally, we'll connect all the dots and see how these physical changes can literally reshape your mind.
All right, let's get right into it, starting with a problem most of us don't even know we have: constant nagging tension deep in our abdomen. Okay, check this out, because this reveals a really critical design feature of the human body. Running right along your spine are your two biggest blood vessels, the abdominal aorta and the vena cava. Now, when your ab muscles are always tight, they're literally squeezing these massive vessels, creating a traffic jam for your blood. This blocks blood from flowing down to your lower body, and instead it forces all that blood and pressure straight up toward your chest and your head. And the consequence of that is, well, it's not great. The source material puts it pretty bluntly. When blood can't go down, it rushes up. And we're not just talking about a vague feeling of stress here. This is a real physical increase in pressure inside your skull, which over time can cause all sorts of problems, from chronic headaches all the way to cellular damage. So, if tension is the big problem, then relaxation has to be the answer, right? Let's look at what happens the moment you let go of that tension and unlock some seriously powerful benefits for your entire body. There are basically three pillars of a relaxed core. First, you get your blood flow back in balance. Second, you dramatically improve how much oxygen you take in. And third, you activate your abdomen's natural and super important function as a safe place to store blood. Let's break each of those down.
This first one has a pretty cool name from the ancient texts: water rising, fire descending. I know it sounds a little poetic, but it's actually a very precise description of what's happening physiologically. As soon as that bottleneck in your abdomen is gone, warm, oxygen-rich blood, that's the water, can flow freely down, warming up your core and your limbs. This immediately relieves that upward pressure, the fire, leaving your head feeling cool, calm, and clear.
Next up, oxygen, and you have got to see this number. A normal shallow breath from your chest might bring in, say, 300 to 500 cubic centimeters of air. But when you relax your abdomen, your diaphragm can drop way lower, increasing your potential air intake to almost 2,000 cc. That is a 4 to 5 times increase in the oxygen you have available to repair cells and energize your entire body with every single breath. Now, all this talk about improved circulation brings up a really important question. When you're in that tense state and blood is being pushed all over the body, where does it actually end up? Well, your body tries to find a place for it, but honestly, none of the options are good. If too much blood pools in your head, you get pressure, headaches, even an increased risk of stroke. If it's in your chest, it puts a huge strain on your heart and lungs. And if it pools in your legs, you end up with issues like varicose veins. And this brings us to the most crucial point. Your abdomen is the body's only large-scale, flexible blood reservoir. It is literally designed to handle the overflow safely. When it's relaxed, it can hold up to 75% of your body's entire blood supply. This is exactly why it's traditionally called the Sea of Qi, or the Sea of Energy, because where the blood gathers, energy is centered. This leads us perfectly into our third section. We're moving from the body's plumbing system to its internal pharmacy. Because when you relax the Dantian, you're not just moving blood around, you're actually setting off a powerful biochemical reaction. What's laid out here is this fascinating chain reaction. See, the Dantian area is packed with parasympathetic nerves. This is our rest and digest system, the total opposite of our fight or flight response. When you activate these nerves through deep relaxation, they send out signals that trigger the release of some incredibly powerful and regenerative hormones. And these hormones, wow, they have some pretty amazing effects. Male hormone boosts your vitality and energy.
Growth hormone gets to work repairing cells and can actually slow down the aging process. And then there's a whole cocktail of what the source calls happiness hormones that create this natural baseline state of just feeling good, all generated from inside you. All right, let's move into our final section and connect all these physical pieces, the blood, the oxygen, the hormones, to what's going on in our head. This is where we see how balancing the body is really the secret to balancing the mind. The source material really presents a core idea here. Instead of trying to use your thoughts to force your mind to be calm, you first create the physical conditions where calmness can just happen on its own. It's a bottom-up approach to feeling good, and it all starts with the body. And this gets to the very root of so many of our compulsive behaviors. Think about it. When your internal system is stressed out, when you're tense and you're not getting enough oxygen, your brain is literally starved of those feel-good hormones and needs. This creates a deep sense of lack, a craving, and we instinctively start looking for a fix, anywhere outside of ourselves. This chart just lays out the two paths so clearly. On the left, you've got that external search, the short-lived hit you get from buying stuff, the rush from a gamble, the constant chase for fame. And on the right, you have internal generation, where your own body creates a stable, ongoing sense of satisfaction. One is a roller coaster, the other is a steady state of well-being. And here's the real kicker, the big takeaway. When your own body is already supplying your brain with the chemistry of contentment, the magnetic pull of all those external rewards just gets weaker. That temporary high from buying something new just isn't as appealing because your baseline feeling is already pretty great. That desperate search for something more just starts to fade away. So to wrap it all up, we've seen that the Dantian isn't some abstract idea. It's a real physiological control center. Relaxing it balances your blood flow, massively boosts your oxygen, gives your blood a safe place to go, and kicks off a hormonal cascade that regulates your entire system, both body and mind. And all of this leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought to chew on. If creating this state of deep physical and biochemical balance can lead to less craving, more contentment, and a calmer mind, what does that really say about the nature of enlightenment? Maybe, just maybe, the path to a higher consciousness isn't only in our heads, but is deeply rooted in the physical reality of our own bodies.